For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jennifer Estep, and I write the Elemental Assassin Urban Fantasy Series, the Mythos Academy and Black Blade Young Adult Fantasy Series, the Big Time Paranormal Romance Series, the Kill the Queen Epic Fantasy Series, and A Partridge in a Pear Tree. I write all the fantasy books all the time. That's what it feels like sometimes. So I thought I would start out by, saying thanks to Randy and Stacy and Cliff and everybody who put the convention on and for flying me all the way up here from my little hometown in Tennessee. Thank you guys so much. And thank you to all of you guys for coming out. I mean, this is a great crowd tonight. Yeah, let's give a round of applause. So I thought I would start out more on a humorous note tonight and talk about 10 things that no one ever tells you about being a writer and what it's really like. Show of hands in here, how many of you guys are either writers or aspiring writers? Quite a few of you? Okay, good. If you're like me, you probably dreamed about being a writer for years and years and years and years. And I wrote 7 books over the course of about 7 years before I sold my first book, which was Karma Girl back in 2007. So this year, 2017, is my 10th year of being published. And I have about 30 books out now and several e-novellas and short stories and all that kind of stuff. But way back when I sold that first book, I thought, this is it. This is my moment. This is my big break. This is my destiny. Watch out, J.K. Rowling and Nora Roberts and everybody else. Here comes Jennifer Estep. It's like fame and fortune and world domination are like mine for the taking. Well, if you've been in the publishing business any length of time, you know that it usually almost never ever happens like that. You don't suddenly become, rich and famous overnight. It's a job and kind of a daily slog like everything else. So I thought I would share 10 things that no one ever tells you what being a writer is really like. So, number 1, everyone you've ever read will read your books, including your parents, your coworkers, the people you went to school with, and even the people at your church. And if you write romances, they will especially read the sex scenes. I once had a guy email me, I went to school with him, and email me that he was blushing because his name was the same name as a character in one of my sex scenes. Let's say that this guy's name was Michael. And I went to school with him, and apparently he thought that I had named my character after him, even though I hadn't talked to him in about 10 years, and we had never been friends in high school to start with. And I really wanted to write him back and say, no, dude, I just needed a name that started with an M, and Michael was the very first one that came to me. So just be aware that people will draw conclusions about your books, whether those are the right conclusions or not. Number 2, people can be wonderful. I have gotten so many lovely compliments and emails and letters and bookmarks, and people have made me things, and people have gotten tattoos of my characters over the years. I mean, it's fantastic. And every time I get a nice comment or an email from someone, it really does make all the long, lonely hours at the computer worthwhile, because as a writer, you guys know that most of the time it's you locked in a little room, like furiously typing away on your keyboard. So getting those emails and everything, it makes it all worthwhile. Number 3, but people can also be not so wonderful, as I'm sure we all know, especially published writers. For all the nice comments that I've gotten about my books, I've also gotten some comments that were, let's call them not so nice. And it's not even that some of them are mean, it's just that they're kind of odd. Like in one of my books, I once got an email from a lady talking about, I literally had one sentence in a book about kudzu growing on a building. Do you guys know what kudzu is? Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know, it's this vine in the southern U.S., and it just takes over everywhere. And this woman wrote me, and she said that I couldn't be from the South, I couldn't be a true Southerner, I couldn't be a true gardener because I would never, ever write a sentence about kudzu growing on a building. She didn't write me anything about the plot or the characters or the storyline. It was literally 4 paragraphs about kudzu. So I guess the lesson here is don't write about kudzu ever. And, that's just one of the very many interesting comments that I've gotten about my books over the years. So you just never know what people are going to like or not like or get outraged by in your books, but apparently kudzu is one of those things. Number 4, don't read reviews of your books. Just don't do it. Don't. because this goes back to number 3, because when people are not so wonderful, they can really be not so wonderful on Amazon and Kobo, I hate to say, and all the other review sites, because it's like you're just a name on a book cover and people feel like they can say whatever they want to about your books, and it's just, it can drive you crazy. I don't want to read that my book is the worst thing ever written and that I should be burned at the stake as a witch for putting such drivel out into the world to start with. But yeah, you will get all those comments and many more, and those are some of the nicer ones that I've actually gotten. Yeah. So just don't do it. I mean, just don't. Writing a book is such a crazy process anyway. Don't make yourself even crazier by actually reading the reviews, especially the bad reviews. It just makes you like, Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football. That's kind of what bad reviews will make you want to tear your hair out like that. Okay, number 5. No matter how many times you edit and proofread your books, there will still be typos in them. It's a fact of life. And of course, someone will immediately email you about all the typos that they find, every single one. I once had a guy, he said he was a soldier serving overseas, and he emailed me and said that it was absolutely shocking that I was a published author and that I had an English and journalism degree because he found so many typos and mistakes in my book. And then he misspelled the title of my book in his email to me. Yes, he did. And I really, really, really wanted to point out that my book had about 100,000 words in it, and his email had about 300. And if I had an English degree, what kind of education did he have? But I politely emailed him back, as I do everyone who emails me, even the mean people. And, thanked him for taking the time to read my books and that sort of thing. But sometimes I think the hardest part of being a writer is not speaking your mind to certain people, especially the people on the internet who email you. But to quote Kelly Clarkson, the great American songwriter, you can't win. Number 6, people always expect you to know where the bathroom is. This is a fact of life. If you ever do a book signing, I'm not kidding. I can't tell you how many times I have been in a bookstore somewhere in the U.S. At a table like this one, maybe with even some other authors like these fine gentlemen, with a stack of my books and a big sign saying, Jennifer Estep signing books today, and someone will come over and say, hey, where's the bathroom at? Because apparently having books to sign means that you automatically know where the bathroom is. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. So do yourself a favor. Every time you do a book signing, make sure that you know where the bathroom is, because someone will ask you, and maybe you can extort them to buy a book if you give them this information. Number 7, people will accuse you of writing books just for the money. Yeah. Whenever someone says this to me, I tend to have a couple of reactions. First of all, I really want to laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh some more. Everybody thinks that writers make tons of money, but that's not the case. We are not all J.K. Rowling, unfortunately. I wish that I was her with her sales and her money, but it's just not the truth. I mean, I had a day job for many, many years before I was able to become a full-time writer. And being a full-time writer is really kind of like having about 5 or 6 full-time day jobs. So, second, I want to tell people that, of course, I'm in it for the money. It's my job, and I expect to be paid for my job just as you expect to be paid for your job. And third, I want to tell them that, of course, I'm in it for the money because I have to get something out of dealing with all the crazy people who say that I'm a witch and should be burned at the stake for putting such mindless drivel out into the world. Number 8, people will ask you unexpected things about your books, and these things will quickly become the bane of your existence. No matter how many times, you read your books or you do interviews, I do a lot of blogs and Q&As and things, and you think that you have been asked every single possible question in the universe about your books, and then someone comes along and asks you something you never even thought of. And in my case, that is the word toboggan. How many of you guys know what a toboggan is?
Not down there.
I know. Now, I imagine most of you think that a toboggan is a sled, right? Well, that is correct, and that is also wrong. Because in the southern United States, where I am from, where my characters are, where my books are set, a toboggan is the word for a winter hat. You know, just a little knit winter hat. Don't say that word to me. No.
I found it yesterday.
I mean, where I live, a toboggan is a winter hat, and a sled is just a sled. I would never say, I'm going to go out, get the toboggan out, and go sledding. It's like, I would just say, I'm going to get the sled out and, sledding, where I put my toboggan on to go. So I remember this was my second young adult book that was published, Kiss of Frost. Someone emailed me and say, why do you have the word toboggan in your books? It's like, that's the word for a sled. And I'm like, no, that's the word for a hat. And, I was like, this is just a regional word. And I thought, okay, that's the end of that. Someone else emailed me about toboggan. And then someone else, and then someone else, and then about, I don't know, maybe more than 100 other people. I have gotten more emails about the word toboggan than any other word in any of my books, including the curse words, the sex words, all the other words. It's like people are really concerned about toboggan. And since we are in Canada, many of those people that write me are Canadian, and they say that I should use the word, is it toque? Toque. Okay, I'm not even saying it right. That's how little I know about it.
Toque is in BC.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. But I swear, it's like every couple of weeks I get another email about it. I've done Facebook posts about it. I've done blog posts about it. I put it on the frequently asked questions section of my website. And people still ask me about it. And it's like, oh my Lord, I wish I could go back to all of my books and put a little asterisk in them and say, toboggan, AKA a winter hat. Please don't email me about this anymore. And, it never occurred to me as I was writing that scene, it's like, oh, toboggan, winter hat, moving on, that someone would email me and ask about that. But so many of you have. So please spread the word in Canada. A toboggan is a hat, too. So the point of that story is try not to let the questions like that drive you insane, although obviously this one has already driven me quite insane. Number 9, people will think that they are related to you or that they know you from way back when. I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten about saying, oh, my last name is Estep, are we related? And I'm like, no. I don't know you. I know my family, and you are not part of that family. Everybody in my family knows me, too. And it's either that or oh, are you the Jennifer Estep that I went to summer camp with in Maryland, in 1965? And I'm like, do I look that old in my author photo? And I'm not sure. I think maybe these people think that I'll send them money because authors are rich. And hey, if we're related, then, Cousin Jennifer can spare, a couple $100,000 to help Cousin Ray Ray out. But so just be aware that people will think that they know you more than they actually do. Number 10, people think that being a writer is easy, and they will tell you all about their great idea for a book. And also, because being a writer is so easy, they're going to write their book in an afternoon or two, get it published next week, and then start cashing the checks next month. This tends to happen to me at my family reunion, of all places. I have, my grandfather had, I think, 9 brothers and sisters, and they all had kids, So I have about 75 or so first and second cousins. And we used to have a family reunion every summer. And I swear, there was this one cousin, she just kept coming up to me year after year after year, saying that, oh, she's going to write a kid's book or whatever and make lots of money doing it, because if I can do it, then surely it can't be too hard. I don't know what the word for when you murder your cousin is. Is there an actual term for that? But I was seriously considering that day. And then another one of my cousins said to me, why, Jennifer, you just sit around and write all day. And I was like, what's that word for cousin homicide again? I do sit around and write all day, as you all know, and we do social media and blogging and frequently asked questions and all kinds of stuff. But going to the family reunion, it's like I know I'm going to have this exact same conversation with the exact same people next year, and you'll find that in your life, there are just some people that can't understand that you just don't sit around and write all day. You actually do work, and it actually is a job. So try not to let that drive you crazy either, although obviously it is also driving me as crazy as the word toboggan has. So what I'm trying to say with this list was, writing and publishing, it can be a tough business to be in. It has its ups and downs like anything else. So cherish the ups, the nice comments from readers, the good reviews, the positive things that happen along the way, like being asked to come to a conference in Canada. Laugh at the strange and the funny things that happen, the odd emails about toboggans and kudzu and all that, and people asking you where the bathroom is. And try not to let the downs bother you too much, or take up yoga and kickboxing, to kind of de-stress that way. So I just want to say thanks again for coming, and happy reading and happy writing, everybody.